From the epic poems of the ancient Greeks to the groundbreaking novels of the modern age, European nations have shaped literature in profound ways. But if we had to pick just one, which European nation has had the biggest influence on literature? In today's video, we're diving into the rich history, culture, and impact of several European nations to answer that question. So grab your coffee, sit back, and let's explore the world of European literature. Let's start with the ancient roots of European literature, because the foundations were laid long before the printing press or the novel even existed. In the ancient world, Greece was one of the first European nations to create a lasting literary tradition. Think of Homer, whose epics the Iliad and the Odyssey not only gave us stories of gods, heroes, and adventures, but also shaped Western storytelling for centuries. From his influence, we have the structure of epic poetry that still permeates literature today. And then there's Rome. Writers like Virgil, Ovid, and Cicero contributed to a literary heritage that would inspire countless generations. Virgil's Aeneid set the standard for Roman epic poetry, while Ovid's Metamorphoses shaped not just literature but art, theater, and later even cinema. So in the ancient world, Greece and Rome were undeniable powerhouses. But what about the Middle Ages? Which nations rose to prominence next? During the Middle Ages, European literature began to take shape in a more structured way. A major shift came with the rise of chivalric romance. These tales of knights, dragons, and honor were hugely popular in France, particularly with writers like Chrétien de Troyes, who contributed to the legend of King Arthur and the Round Table. But let's talk about one of the most important cultural revolutions in history, the Renaissance. And it's in this period that one country truly shines: Italy. Italy gave birth to some of the most influential writers in Western literature. Think of Dante Alighieri and his Divine Comedy, a poetic journey through hell, purgatory, and heaven. This epic not only immortalized Italian language and culture, but also created a framework for understanding human existence and the afterlife that resonates to this day. But Dante wasn't alone. You also had Petrarch, Boccaccio, and later Machiavelli, whose The Prince remains a key text in political philosophy. This was a golden age for Italian literature, and it left a mark that would echo throughout European culture. And while Italy was leading the charge, let's not forget England, whose literary legacy would later dominate global literature in a way that's hard to rival. When we think about literary influence, one nation that immediately comes to mind is England. England's literary tradition has produced some of the most famous and influential works in history. Let's start with William Shakespeare, whose plays not only revolutionized drama, but also shaped the English language itself. Words and phrases we use today were coined by Shakespeare, and his influence stretches beyond literature into theater, philosophy, and even politics. But Shakespeare is just the tip of the iceberg. English literature has a treasure trove of authors who have shaped the modern world. There's the Bronte sisters, whose Gothic novels like Jane Eyre and Wuthering Heights captured the darker, more intense aspects of human emotion. Then you have Jane Austen, whose sharp wit and keen observations about society in books like Pride and Prejudice still influence writers today, especially in the world of romantic fiction. And let's not forget Charles Dickens, whose social commentary in novels like Oliver Twist and A Tale of Two Cities highlighted the struggles of the poor and the injustices of industrialization. The influence of English writers is staggering, and their works have transcended national borders. English became the lingua franca of global literature, shaping everything from novels to films and television shows. But the literary landscape of Europe is vast, and it wasn't just England that left a deep mark. Another key player in shaping European and global literature is Germany. The German literary tradition, especially during the Romantic period, was a pivotal force. In the 18th and 19th centuries, Germany gave us the philosophical writings of Immanuel Kant and Friedrich Nietzsche, whose ideas still ripple through modern thought. But it was the poets and novelists who transformed literature into something more introspective, personal, and dramatic. Johann Wolfgang von Goethe is one of Germany's most celebrated figures. His Faust is one of the most important works in world literature, exploring themes of ambition, love, and the search for meaning. Goethe's writing defined German literature for generations and influenced authors all over Europe. And let's not forget the Brothers Grimm, whose fairy tales became timeless classics, not just in Germany, but across the globe. And then there's France. When we think of French literature, we think of the cultural epicenter of ideas, revolutions, and intellectual discourse. Writers like Voltaire, Rousseau, and Diderot played a huge role during the Enlightenment, challenging traditional authority and promoting ideas about liberty, equality, and fraternity. Their writings didn't just change France. They shaped the Western world's ideas about politics, society, and reason. Then, of course, there's Victor Hugo and Émile Zola, whose works, Les Misérables and Germinal, highlighted the struggles of the poor and critiqued social inequalities. Their writing has had a lasting influence on social realism and political literature. And let's not forget the 20th century. French existentialists like Jean-Paul Sartre and Simone de Beauvoir revolutionized literature with their deep philosophical explorations of human existence and freedom. So, which European nation has had the biggest influence on literature? The truth is, it's not easy to say. Each of these nations, Greece, Italy, England, Germany, France, has contributed in its own way to the evolution of literature. Is it England with its global influence and literary giants like Shakespeare and Austen, or Germany with its intellectual and philosophical contributions that still resonate today? Perhaps it's France whose revolutionary ideas sparked global movements? Ultimately, it comes down to what aspect of literature you value the most: the foundation of storytelling, the depth of philosophy, the exploration of human emotions, or the critique of society. Every country has its unique claim to the literary throne, and maybe that's why European literature is so rich, diverse, and influential. One thing is certain: the legacy of European literature is woven into the fabric of global culture, and the stories that originated in these countries continue to shape our world today. What do you think? Which European nation has had the most influence on literature in your eyes? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and let's continue the conversation.